Now to South Africa, the country's giant state-run power utility Eskom says operations have not been affected by the current strike. Around 15,000 employees allied to the National Union of Mineworkers have downed their tools. Many of them, in fact, had blocked roads leading to the Arnot power station, that's east of Johannesburg. The company's management have described the strike as illegal. Wage talks deadlocked over the weekend. Eskom is offering pay hikes of anywhere between 7% and 9%. The union, however, is demanding well above inflation hikes of between 12% and 13%. Let's figure out exactly what's going on. Angelo Coppola joins us now live from Johannesburg. Angelo, help us understand this. By law, since Eskom was classified as an essential service somewhere in 1997, its staff can't go on strike. How then did we end up in the current situation?
Well, the bottom line here is that for many years now, the union, specifically the NUM, have been saying that Eskom has used this essential services clause within the negotiations as sort of a buffer to providing proper increases to those NUM and NUMSA staff. So it's essential service. They're not allowed to do it because they'll break the law and they can go to jail. But the NUM says every time in the past that they've tried to negotiate, this aspect gets thrown back in their faces, and the members then have to grudgingly accept any kind of wage offer that's put on the table. Just a little while ago, in fact, NUMSA, which is the other union that's represented at Eskom, has also thrown its weight behind the NUM, saying that if they are going to strike if the union and Eskom management actually don't find a solution. Raman?
Indeed. Okay. So clearly from the union's perspective, the law be damned. But what's the end game here? Is it to cripple enough power plants, plunge the country back into load shedding so that you can actually force Eskom management to the bargaining table again?
Well, an analyst's view is that it's being used as a negotiating tool by the NUM. The union doesn't believe that Eskom is negotiating good faith either. They believe that Eskom could make a better offer for what they consider are slave wages for many of their members. And let's not forget that Eskom and the Public Enterprises Minister Lynn Brown were very quick to publicize the fact that the utility made some, $300 to $350 million worth of profit in this last year. So obviously NUM is saying, we want a share of that profit. Raman?
5 years ago, the unions, especially NUM, Solidarity and NUMSA, they took Eskom to court on a relatively similar issue. But back then, the unions lost, and this issue of being an essential service came up then. So is this likely to play out perhaps in the exact same manner as that 2010 case, which, if I recall correctly, went all the way to the Supreme Court?
I have it on good authority, in fact, Raman, that the NUM will be challenging this classification in the Constitutional Court this time around. Their national leadership took a decision several weeks ago, and tomorrow they've called all their shop stewards from across the country to a regional meeting in Johannesburg that we're going to be attending. And the mood amongst members is belligerent at the moment. As you've said, there was a wildcat strike today that affected only 2 provinces and 3 power stations. And that's after Eskom had failed to table a revised offer that they were meant to table on Friday. They'd undertaken to do so. So on the other hand, though, Eskom are saying that the CCMA has been asked by Eskom to reopen negotiations. So this is seen by the union as a move in the right step. But Raman, you know what's happening here? It's all about posturing at the moment.
Indeed. One last question for you, Angelo. Between this strike by NUM members, or rather some members in the electricity sector, and the one that's taking place right now in the petroleum sector, what are the odds that we could find South Africa in the middle of a full-blown energy supply crisis?
Well, it seems like the petroleum strike is set to continue, although the union there has said it's willing to talk to the CCMA, which is that Council for Conciliation and Mediation. And they've also called on the Minister of Labour to get involved to help find a solution. The bottom line here is, though, the petroleum bosses and the union bosses are set in their positions and they're not budging at the moment. So it's anybody's guess where this is going to end. Pressure will most likely come from businesses and consumers when the fuel shortages start to bite. In the power strike sector, of course, you know, this thing could turn into a national wildcat strike, and it has the potential to cripple the country. We'll only know tomorrow how far the NUM members are prepared to go. It's all balanced on a very fine and sharp knife's edge at the moment, and hopefully sanity will prevail. Raman?
Indeed, we'll leave it there for the time being. Thanks for the update. That's Angela Copeland live in Johannesburg. Of course, as you mentioned, you will have updates on the developments there, especially on the industrial action side, in the next 24 hours.